Hey, Kayflane.
Hey, Wef. What are we going to learn today?
Today, we're going to nerd out with simple simulations in Python. We're going to combine everything we know so far so that we can build a complete simulation of any event in the world. We're going to start with something very, very simple and build complexity throughout the rest of this course so that we can really simulate some really complex events and do some data science on data that we may not be able to observe in the real world. So to do a simulation, we're going to follow a series of 6 steps, and we're going to use this pattern for every single simulation. We're going to start with the very basic version of all 6 of these steps, and then as we do more simulations, we're going to add more complexities to different ones of these steps, so you're going to be able to grow in your data science knowledge without feeling overwhelmed as we do simulations. So the 6 steps, Carly.
Yeah.
The first one is we want to first have a list where we're going to accumulate each individual observation in our simulation.
Ooh, so I remember when we talked about lists, we said they're always going to be square brackets and then elements inside of them.
So step 1 in our simulation is always going to be to create an empty list. And to do that, the code is just going to, I'm going to call it data since it's our simulation data.
Yep.
And I'm just going to have exactly what you said, data is equal to an empty list.
Sounds good.
The second step is to create a for loop that runs in times. And this idea of in, Carly, is this a common thing we see inside data science?
Ooh, yes. So we can use n as a lot of things. We can use it as the number of trials or a number of times that something's run. We also use it as sample size a lot when we talk about polling and sampling. N is the number of people that are in our sample or in our study. So n is a variable that we're going to see quite frequently.
So usually we're going to say a specific value for n. So I'm going to build this first simulation as n equals 100 times. So we're going to build a simulation that we're going to run it 100 times and have 100 data points in our final data frame. So if I want to create a for loop that runs 100 times, the syntax is simply going to be for I in range 100. And we use 100 here because that's what we decided that we wanted the simulation to run a total of 100 times. Once we've done the second step, the third step is sometimes the most complex step, which is to simulate all of the real-world events. So step 3, and this will be inside of the for loop, is going to be simulate all real world events. And for this simple simulation, I'm going to just go ahead and simulate rolling a single dice. So I'm going to take one of these dice, I want to roll the dice, and I want to essentially do this simulation 100 times to get 100 observations of rolling this dice. So when I roll this dice, I can just simply do this real-world event by saying the result of the roll is the variable roll, which comes from taking a random number, random.randint, with a minimum value of 1 and a maximum value of 6. So this just rolls a dice. We store the result in roll. If I do this roll, 3 is now stored in my variable roll. But at this point, that variable is not in my data yet. So I first want to accumulate this and all other real-world variables into a dictionary. So step 4 is going to be accumulate all real world variables. What this means is that I'm going to look back to step 3 and look at every single variable I've defined in step 3.
And it looks like you only did one for this simple simulation.
Yep. And since I only have the variable roll, I only need to accumulate a single variable. So I'm going to say D is going to be my accumulation of all the variables, and I'm going to use it in a dictionary. And the format of this dictionary is I'm going to have a curly brace, and I'm going to have quotes, and put the name of the variable inside of the quotes. So the variable name was called roll, so I'm going to have roll inside of quotes, followed by a colon, followed by the name of the variable without a quote. And then I need to close my curly braces. So this is a dictionary in Python, and it's saying the dictionary D is equal to the variable name, the key is named roll, that's going to contain the value of my roll. So now inside our dictionary, we have a roll that is equal to 3, since that's the value of my roll. Finally, step 5, which we're still inside the for loop, is going to be appending the dictionary to the list data. So at this point, data is an empty list. The first time we run it, we get a roll, we get the value of 3, we accumulate the value of 3 inside of our dictionary, and now we want to add the fact that the first roll was a 3 to our list of data.
That makes sense.
So to do this, I'm going to do what we did with lists way back in the beginning of the class, and do data.append of d. And this is going to take this entire value of d of all my real world variables and put it into my list called data. So this is going to run one time. It's going to get the roll of 3 and store the roll of 3 inside my list. The second time it runs, it's going to take another roll this dice, get the value of 6, store 6 to roll, and put the value of 6 inside of my list. And it's going to continue to do this 100 times. And because the name of my variable is roll, what I'm creating is I'm creating a data frame that's going to have a column called roll, and that's going to have a value of 3, 6, and so forth for each one of my rolls. But I want to actually not just have it as a list, I want to have it as this data frame, so I get this indices and all of this.
And then we can do analysis on it if we have it as a data frame.
Exactly. So to do this, we need to do our 6th step, and we want to do the 6th step after we've ran all of the simulation. So after we've completed this entire for loop, then outside of the for loop, we want to create a new data frame. So I'm going to go ahead and say outside of the for loop, create a data frame. And to do this, I'm going to simply do df is equal to pd dot data frame of data. So we're going to take all of our list of 100 dice rolls up here and create a data frame by using the specific syntax of doing pd dot data frame, open parentheses, and giving it the name of the list that I have up here. Because I've used 2 libraries here, I have to make sure that I have an import statement for both these libraries. So it looks like I used a random library here, Karle.
Yep.
And the pandas library. So I have to make sure I import pandas as PD and import random so that I have both the libraries I've made reference to in this code ready to use in Python.
And I have both of those libraries already loaded in, so now I can go ahead and start my simulation. So Wade said there were 6 steps. The first is to create our empty list called data. The second is to create our for loop. So I'm going to do for I in range 100 because we want to do this simulation 100 times. The next step is to simulate all my real world variables. I have one variable that we are calling roll, and it is going to be the result of random.randint 1, 6, because we're just rolling a simple dice. And then I also want to accumulate this variable into a dictionary. I'm going to call it D. So I'm going to say D is equal to, and then I have the curly braces, and then roll in quotes, :roll. And then last step inside the for loop, I'm going to do data.append D. And then step number 6 is to make sure that this list is a data frame that we can use to analyze. So I'm going to go outside the for loop, and I'm going to say df equals pd.dataframe of data. And when I run this, I got the green check mark, but I actually have to type df to see what's inside of it.
Yeah, so often what we'll do is simulations. We'll write the entire simulation in one chunk of code. And then what we'll do is we'll have the data frame being outputted in a second chunk of code or a second block. Because every time we run the simulation, we're actually creating 100 new rows of data. So we don't necessarily always want to create 100 new rows. We want to fix our simulation, roll all of the dice, get our series of simulation results done, and then only once we have our results actually begin to analyze the results.
Exactly. So if I look at df, we should see a bunch of dice rolls. I have 100 rows and one column. The column is called roll, and I have 6, 1, 1, 6, 3, 3, 5, 4, 5, 4. It looks exactly how I would expect it.
So Karle got a data frame that looks exactly like this data frame that we have on the paper here, where we have the index columns 0 through 1, roll 3, 6, and so forth. The next thing that we want to do is I want to just edit a few things here to really dive into how the simulation works and make sure that we understand 2 aspects. One, that this really does control how many times the for loop runs. And if I change this line right here from 100 to 1,000, we should get our data frame to not have 100 rows in it, but now have 1,000 rows in it.
Yeah, so let's make that change. I am over in Visual Studio Code. I'm just adding a 0 to the for I in range. And when I run this code and print out df, now it does say I have 1,000 rows. So that is exactly what it did.
So now we know how to control the number of values. We have this in value. In could be 100, in could be 1,000, in could be 700. The second thing that we're often going to do as we build a little more complex simulation is we mentioned here that we're going to simulate all real-world events. So what I want to do is I want to put a second real-world event here. And I could imagine doing two things, Karle. Do we want to roll 2 dice, or do we want to roll a dice of different colors and maybe simulate a color and a value?
Ooh, let's do that. Let's do a color and a value.
OK, so we've already got the value being the roll. And I'm going to go ahead and add, because this simulates all real-world events, one thing we might do is we're going to grab one of these colors to actually roll one of these 4 possible color dice every time we do a simulation. So when we do that, we can go ahead and do our color is equal to random.choice of all possible colors. And remember, random.choice is going to be a function that includes a list of all of our possible outcomes. And here it might be a red, it might be a white, it might be a black dice, or it might be a yellow dice. So random.choice will choose between one of these 4 possible colors. And the only other change I need to make when I have 2 real-world variables is I need to accumulate all the real-world variables. To do that, we already have the variable roll accumulated. Instead of closing the list right here, we're going to add a comma and accumulate the second variable, color, which contains the value that's stored in color. And then we can close the list. So we simply use a comma-separated list of these variables. So making these 2 lines of code changes, adding the color, and then accumulating the color, everything else should work out. And now we'll have a data frame of 1,000 random rolls of a random color.
Yeah, so I will go ahead and add this in Python. So I'm going to have my second variable, which is called color. And I'm going to say that is just random.choice of my list, which contains red, white,
black, and yellow.
Black and yellow.
And because these are strings instead of numbers, Karle put them in quotes.
Yep, and then I'm going to add to my dictionary. I have roll, and then now I also have color. And I'm going to run this cell. I'm going to look at df. And now I have 1,000 rows and 2 columns, and I can see that for every single row, I have a roll number, and then I have the color of the dice.
So this is the foundations of building simple simulations in Python. We have control over the number of simulations we run, and we have the ability to choose which real-world variables we want to simulate. As we add more complexity to our problem space, we're going to be able to simulate that complexity by adding more real-world variables or doing more complicated functions within this real-world variable syntax. So we're going to keep building on this and do some really awesome simulations by the end of the course.